Rev up your engines!
Well, you thought electric cars are going to be cheaper? Haha, look at this. Oregon and Utah are now mandating GPS trackers in electric cars so they can track how many miles the electric cars drive so they can tax them per mile. You know, of course, anybody that's got half a brain realizes if people start driving electric cars, who's going to pay for fixing the roads? Because when you buy gasoline, there's a big tax on gasoline every time you buy a gallon. That helps pay for the roads, right? Well, electric vehicles don't use gasoline. So, Oregon and Utah are saying you buy an electric car, you got to have a GPS tracker in it that shows you how many miles. That's the thing that I always wonder. I said, they're going to tax people per mile. How can they tell? People would turn their odometers off, they'd lie, they'd cheat, they'd steal, right? Well, if you got a GPS, the computers know exactly how many miles you're driving, right? And where you're driving, too. So talk about lack of privacy. And it looks like Michigan is the next state that's going to do that. It's going to force people with electric cars to have a GPS tracker installed so they can see how many miles they drive, so they can tax them. You think electric cars are going to be cheaper. You're living in la-la land. Price of electricity is going up. In most places now, it actually costs more money to charge your car at a charging station outside of your house when you're traveling than it does to fill your car up with gasoline. People have done studies. How much does it cost to go 100 miles in a gasoline car for the fuel price and how much for electricity? And it turns out that it's actually quite a bit cheaper now to buy gasoline than it is to buy electricity. And this has just started. You know, if it gets mass, they'll just raise the electric rates up the wazoo, right? You're stuck. You got to buy it. What are you going to do? You're stuck. You can't move anywhere if you run out of electricity in a battery electric car, so they can charge you whatever they want. Well, now, on top of paying for that, which is more expensive, right? Even though your gasoline that you're buying for your gasoline vehicle, it's cheaper per 100 miles, right? But that includes the road tax, right? You're paying for the road tax. This, you're not paying for the road tax. This is just the electric stuff you're buying. This road tax is extra on top of it. So you think you're saving money with electric vehicles. Like I say, follow the money. And the money says, no, you're paying more. Linda 61 says, I got a 1985 Toyota overheats and there's a little bit of oil in the radiator. My engine burns a lot of oil, but I added the oil, honey, and now it doesn't burn quite as much. I don't see white tailpipe smoke, but there is oil in my coolant. All right, there's only two things that can do that. One is your head gasket is blowing, and that will blow engine oil into the radiator. What you want to do for that is watch my video, How to Tell If Your Head Gasket is Blown, Scotty. Watch that on YouTube. You get a test tube. You can do it yourself. You can buy the kit for $40. You get this plastic test tube. You pour the blue liquid in, run the car, stick it, take the radiator cap off, stick it in. If the blue turns yellow, your head gasket's blown. It probably is. Now, the only other thing that can do it on that Toyota is your radiator also has the transmission cooler built in the bottom. So, if your transmission cooler breaks such that the transmission fluid gets into the radiator, you will have oil in your radiator. It won't be engine oil, it will be transmission oil, but it's still oil. It's going to look the same. Oil floating on the top. And in that case, what you need is a new radiator. You can get a radiator for one of those things. Chinese made one for $100, right? Pray it's the radiator, not a blown head gasket. From my experience, though, it's usually a blowing head gasket. You're not necessarily going to see steam coming out in the beginning. Eventually you would, but when they start, you often don't see any steam come out of the tailpipe, but the test will tell you for sure. So do the test and pray it's just the radiator. Much cheaper fix. I can just about guarantee you it's the head gasket. That thing's old, and that's what happens with those things. Sarah Salon says, I have a problem with tires leaking. Since the tire shop swapped my rim on my 05 Altima, it's been leaking air, and there's no hole in the tire. What could it be? I put many tires on when I was young. We had a manual tire changer where you got a big tire iron, and the tire went on a stand. You put your hip against it. You'd push all your weight to take them on and off. We did it correct. When you used to change tires, you had guys like me doing it who knew what they were doing and were conscientious. Once you took the tire off, you would get an air wire brush. You'd clean the inside because there's a lot of corrosion. Then you would get the tire lube, which is a special lube, and a brush, and you'd lubricate the inside of the rim. So when you put the new tire on, it would pop in place and the lube would seal it. and it was clean because you cleaned it, right? Today, the guys at tire stores generally are lazy slobs. They're untrained. They're getting paid minimum wage in many places. They don't clean the rim and they don't lubricate it. I had that happen to me once because I don't have a tire machine anymore. Father's gas station is now a pizza joint in Lewiston, New York. So I had the same thing happen. Steve's losing air. I am really pissed. So what I did was I filled the tire up with extra air. Then I got a dishwashing that took tire off the car, put it on the ground. I put it on the rim on one side, then flipped it and put it on the rim on the other side. And I could see the air was coming out of the rim on the inside because the swines did not clean the tire and didn't lubricate it. So I went to a different tire shop and said, these idiots put this tire on. Could you rebalance it, take it off, put it on? They took it off. The inside of the rim was all corroded. They cleaned it with a wire brush, then they lubricated it, put it on, balanced it, and it never leaked again. And I can just about guarantee you that's your problem. Malonzo says, my car is slipping. I got a Nissan 2005. It slips when I accelerate. Sometimes it stays not moving even when you fully press the gas pedal. It only happens when the engine temperature is warm. When it's cold, it shifts fine. I had the transmission fluid replaced because it was black and dirty, but didn't fix anything. What should I do? Well, in the first place, you should have never bought a Nissan. They're rolling piles of crap, and you have a front-wheel drive Nissan with one of their horrible front-wheel drive Jatco transmissions. Your transmission is just flat wearing out. You tried changing the fluid. I mean, the other thing you could try, maybe it'll work a little, maybe not. Get some Lucas anti-slip additive. Comes in a bottle. Suck out that same amount, if it's like 12 ounces, suck 12 ounces out of your transmission, then pour the 12 ounces in and hope that it stops. But I doubt it. It's a Nissan, you know. You didn't say how many miles you have, but if it's got 100-something thousand miles, I can guarantee you the transmission shot. And since it's an '05, I don't think you want to spend the money to do one of those trannies over. Run you anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. I don't think it's worth putting in an old car like that. If you're a riverboat gambler, you like rolling those dice, maybe try to find a used transmission from a junkyard. You never know. But of course, it may or may not work because they're all garbage when Nissan makes them. Their front-wheel drive transmissions are horrible. The big red one says, I got a 2015 Mazda MX-5 with 55,000 miles and a manual transmission. The dealership says it's an output shaft seal leak, but I don't see any leakage and I don't see anything on the driveway. I'm going to change my manual transmission oil anyway. Do you think AT205 reseal will help? Well, yeah, it can, but you may not have a leak at all. Dealerships are lying scumbags. I see it all the time. If your rear shaft is really leaking, okay, there's a shaft coming out of the transmission. Look right there. If it's bone dry, they're full of baloney. And even then, you can't trust them because a lot of times they'll have a little oil squirter. They'll squirt oil on it, say, look, it's leaking, it's leaking. If you don't have anything dripping on the ground and it works fine, you probably don't have a problem at all. I mean, you can put the AT205 reseal. It's good stuff. It'll help rejuvenate seals and it doesn't hurt anything. You can do that anyways. But these people at dealerships are so untrustworthy. And let me tell you the truth. You only got 55,000 miles. I have never, ever seen a Mazda with 55,000 miles have leaky transmission seals. Mazda makes decent seals. I have never seen it. I've seen when they got 155, 255. Yeah, but not with 55,000 miles. I think they just flat out lied to you. Watch out, the Chinese are taking over. The Chinese are taking over. Now, they're not going to invade anybody because they don't care, but they're making an awful lot of money. And to me, that's kind of fascinating because it's supposed to be a communist country, right? Well, now China is set to become the world's largest exporter of cars. Japan's still in the lead, but they're only in the lead now by 70,000 cars a month. Now, these people that are worried about the Chinese taking over everything, they're not going to take over anything physically. They have no interest in that. They merely want to make money, which to me is kind of fascinating because it's supposed to be a communist country, right? But hey, we live in strange times, right? Really strange times. There's a Chinese proverb that says, may you live in strange times. And that's actually a bad thing. They mean bad strange. Well, when you got a communist country leading the world and exporting cars, they're selling to people on a capitalistic market. Yeah, it makes your head spin. They used to be behind South Korea. They're past them. They used to be behind Germany. They're past Germany now. Now the only people they got to catch is Japan. Then the Chinese will be the number one. Now, it's the same thing as people said decades ago. People said, oh no, the Japanese are going to take over the world. Did they take over the world? No, they didn't take over the world. They had an economic stagnation. They had stagflation there. Things weren't growing at all in Japan because they have a high standard of living. Everything costs more money, right? Even in China, from what I read now, the wages are going up in China. And some of the Mexican companies are going full blast because the labor's still cheap in Mexico. And it's cheaper than even than it is in many places of China now. So it'd be interesting to see the dynamics of that, you know. Will the Chinese export their car building to Mexico like Ford and GM and Chrysler did, you know? That would really turn the world on its head, you know? A communist country building cars in one of the most corrupt countries in the world, Mexico. And of course, that's why people build them in Mexico. It's so corrupt they can keep the wages artificially low because it's a very corrupt country, and bribes go and then they get to do whatever they want. The corporations find, hey, it's real easy to do business in Mexico. You can bribe people with small amounts of money and get cheap labor, and that's obviously what's happening in Mexico. The Chinese are exporting the most cars now, but maybe they'll be just like us and end up building them in Mexico because the labor's cheaper there. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.